Hey folks, this isn't Marcus Hockett. This is Randy Newberg. Marcus is in Alaska with Kara and Rocky, and they're doing a moose hunt. So I said, you know what, I'll do Fresh Tracks Weekly this week. So we're going to give you the news section. We're going to give you a little bit of a field update that Michael and I gave when we left our Idaho Elk hunt yesterday. And then we're going to get into a deeper dive on a topic, hunting elk in grizzly country. So let's get to the news stuff. I'm going to be pretty quick about this. I don't know what it is in Oregon, man. There's something crazy going on there. But right now, there's a bill that they're trying to get in the 2024 session that it's called Initiative Petition 3. Initiative Petition 3, IP3, is a proposed ballot initiative for the Oregon 2024 statewide general election. It would eliminate or end the abuse, neglect, and sexual assault of animals. Is sexual assault of animals a problem in Oregon? I mean, what the hell? So there's all this crazy stuff about whether it's animal husbandry, farming, ranching, dog raising, obviously hunting and fishing. There's some crazy stuff going on there. So if you live in Oregon, you better be paying attention to this stuff, and you better be getting the folks out to kill that ballot initiative. I mean, this is as crazy and as screwed up as anything I think I've seen in my adult life, and even in my child life, probably. So another good piece of news coming out of Missouri is there was this Swan Wildlife Refuge earlier this summer. The refuge said, you know what? Our budget's been cut. Our personnel's been cut. We don't even have enough people to administer the normal duck hunting that we do here. So we're not going to have duck hunting in 2023. Well, the good folks at Delta Waterfowl said, nah, we'll take care of that. So Delta Waterfowl worked with the refuge, which is under the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And in spite of what was stated on June 6th, it's going to be open for waterfowl hunting this year, most of it. There's a couple segments of it that are going to be closed for rehabilitation work. They're actually doing some good stuff there. They're trying to get rid of a lot of the tree cover and make it more useful for waterfowl hunting. So Swan Lake, if that's one of those places in Missouri, that wildlife refuge that you hunt or you thought wasn't going to be available, thanks to Delta Waterfowl. And now here's another point to that. Delta said that they were made aware of this by 12 of their members. So if you're seeing this stuff going on in your neighborhood or someplace you hunt, make sure and sound the alarm. Get a hold of the organizations and the groups that can do something about it and can bring some power to the discussion. So that's good news. But now I'm going to give you some bad news out of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has this, it's called the HB House Bill 1300. It was a last-minute amendment that, if enacted, is going to transfer $150 million from the game management accounts over to a whole bunch of other stuff. Well, here's what people need to be aware of. Pittman-Robertson, which is the excise tax that gets reallocated back to the states for guns, ammunition, and a lot of the other stuff we use for hunting and shooting. That 11% tax is collected. It's redistributed back to the states based on license sales and a few other things in the formula. You cannot divert that. You can't take Pittman-Robertson excise tax money and say, oh, we're going to go build a new skateboard park, or we're going to go buy new snow plows. It has to be here for the intended purpose that the Pittman-Robertson is called the Wildlife Restoration Act, I believe is what it's called. In its formal term, we always call it PR, or Pittman-Robertson. So that bill has not yet passed the Senate. So it passed the House from what I understand. So if you live in Pennsylvania, you need to be paying attention because it's not just the $150 million. You're also at risk of losing all of your Pittman-Robertson matching money because of that diversion. It's bad enough that they want to steal money out of your game account, your license accounts. But then it could cost you up to, I think last year, what's it say here? Pennsylvania was the third highest among the 50 states for the amount of money received under the Pittman-Robertson excise tax. $42 million. You could lose that. So if you live in Pennsylvania, be contacting your legislature, your senator, most likely, from what it seems like here. And we can probably send you or put some links in down below. So to me, those are three big issues that we like to keep you aware of, some political things, some places where politicians want to come and mess up things for us. So those are three of them to think about. One of them is really good news, thanks to Delta. The other, seems like about once a month, we got to throw something out there that's coming out of the crazy state of Oregon. We usually don't see much coming out of Pennsylvania, but this is one you should be worried about. So anyhow, now that we're done with this part, we're going to go to the field. Elk hunting report from Idaho. Thanks for being here. The highlight of the hunt was surely shooting a bunch of grouse. The down part of the hunt, the toughest mental part to get through was my liver was giving me fits on day 2, I think it was. And maybe it was day 3. Day 3. Now I can't remember. Anyhow. And so I thought, well, we'll hunt some lower country. And then I bugled and we got a response way up on the mountain, like really steep. And we went up there, and by the time we got up there, I was laid up. So I just had to sleep pretty much all the rest of the morning and afternoon. And while I was sleeping, the cow and a calf came by, and Michael's being the good guy trying to wake me up. And because he's trying to wake me up, he only got like a second of footage of him, and they're 20 yards away. I wake up, I'm like, huh, what? He said, didn't you hear him run off? I'm like, nope. So that's the high and the low here.
All right, cool.
It was still fun. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, no
Worked
problem.
our butt off.
Yeah, it was fun.
Hiked a lot of miles and tried hard.
Yeah.
I learned that you don't give up. I was pretty beat the first couple days, and you just kept on pushing. I was pretty impressed with that, Randy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Impressed with you or me?
With you.
Oh.
Well, me too. Well, mainly you, because I'm here for work. I'm working. I can't like just give up. It was a tough hunt there for a little bit. I mean, the whole hunt was pretty hard.
Yeah, but you know, that's public land elk hunting in a general unit.
Yeah.
And especially early elk season, right? The first 10 days of September. We knew it was against us. It was kind of stacked against us. But you go.
Yeah.
Because you got a tag, and that's what fits in the calendar. And you surely aren't going to shoot one sitting back in the studio in Bozeman. So.
True. Cool. Well, thanks, Randy.
Thank you. Are we rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling.
All right.
It's me, Randy, and Kyler Cavan.
All right.
I'm not so sure if everybody knows who Kyler is. Kyler used to work here, and then what'd you do? Tell the peeps.
Well, I was going to Montana State, and I started working for Randy when I was 18. And I worked for Randy for a couple of years, and I joined the National Guard. Went and did 3 years of active time with the Guard, and now I'm back as a general doer man.
And we are happy to have you,
Yeah,
Kyler.
we are.
Look at that smile. This guy has never not smiled 24 hours in a day.
All right.
We appreciate you being here, Kyler.
Me
Hey,
too.
thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back. But well, Marcus is in the field, so Fresh Tracks Weekly. I don't know. It's episode like 50 some.
Doesn't
but,
matter.
It's full on hunting season. Hunting season's in full swing. Randy and I just got back from Idaho. I went on an archery antelope hunt earlier. Marcus and Kara and his friend Rocky, who you guys may have seen on some previous episodes before, are in Alaska currently, and they had some success, which is sweet.
Yeah.
Marcus texted Randy and I saying that he's working on some moose meat. I just got a text asking if I could go pick up several hundred pounds of moose meat from the airport, and if we have any space in the freezers here in the office. Luckily, we have one freezer that's open, but I don't know if it's going to be able to hold.
Not going to fit 2 moose.
Yeah.
We're getting one hindquarter in that thing.
Yeah. If it's boned out real well.
Yeah.
But in light of it being archery season and Randy and I being in part of Idaho that is full of grizzly bears, and also kind of Montana as well. Like we've had, I have 5 news articles right here about recent grizzly bear attacks or grizzly bears being euthanized because of human conflicts. Today that's kind of our topic, and I don't know. What do you think, Randy? We've had like, I think it's 5 instances in the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. I was on edge a lot this last week, especially going through some of the country that we were going through. It's like the thickest berry patches. I'm like holding my pistol and like looking around like, Randy, are you sure we want to be in here? But the elk were bugling, so it's like, shoot.
Yeah. I was okay with it until we ran into that one. Well, we found a pile of mountain ash berries, those orange ones that grow on trees. It looked like a great big chocolate chip, but it was orange, and you could tell it was bear poop. I was like, there's not a black bear around that leaves that big of a pile. Yeah. And it is so thick. I'm like, hey, Michael, look at that. And Michael's like, yeah, I see. It adds an awareness. And, Kyler, you were out scouting for elk this weekend. You saw a lot of elk, and you were in the middle of grizzly country, though.
Yeah, no grizzlies, but lots of elk.
Yeah,
so
and that's
good news there.
That's one of the trade-offs is some of the best elk hunting in Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming also has some of the highest grizzly bear numbers because if we start, what are we? It's September 11th today.
Yeah.
God bless all those from 9/11.
Seriously.
But anyhow, those seasons, we're just barely into it, and we've had all these attempts or attacks or confrontations. We had the guys up in the Flathead. The 2 guys ran into a bear. They shot at it, and unfortunately, the one guy got shot in the shoulder. But like a bunch of people said, well, I'd rather get shot in the shoulder and live than mauled by a bear and not make it. And just before that, up at West Yellowstone, there was the jogger. She was jogging down the trail where 2 years ago, you and I had hunted there.
Yep.
Came around either a corner or a dip in the trail, sow and a cub.
Done.
Mama kills this poor woman, 48 years old. Then we got 2 anglers up Tom Minor.
Yep.
They're walking along the creek fishing. Bear comes, boom, they have to shoot it to defend themselves. While we were down in Idaho, just out by Island Park Reservoir, 2 elk hunters.
Yep.
Grizzly comes, boom.
Yeah.
They shot it. And then then
the Ashton one too. That one's a little different.
Yeah, the Ashton one. Those were 2 young, 1.5-year-old grizzlies.
Yeah.
That got conditioned to food.
Yep.
And so they had to dispose of them because once these bears get accustomed to humans and conditioned to food, there's a saying: a fed bear is a dead bear.
Yep.
That one down in Ashton's a perfect example. And then. Really, the ugly one was on Friday. It's why the trail at just south of Big Sky, Montana, is closed. And I'm reading from the guy's daughter put a GoFundMe out there. His name is Rudy Norlander, Noorlandr. He rents out ATVs and stuff down in Big Sky, and I'll read what happened here. This is really gruesome, and there's a reason why that trail is closed right now. We stopped by there yesterday, and there's a map of what's closed.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Rudy is the owner of Alpine Adventures. Big Sky was contacted by hunters to rent out some of his ATVs after hearing that they killed but were unable to find a deer. Rudy, being a good Samaritan, decided he'd go and help them search for it. He tracked the deer, but it turned out to not be the deer that the hunters had shot. He saw one small or adult grizzly instinctively pulled out his firearm in hopes of scaring away the grizzly, but before he could even have time to react, a different bear, far more aggressive, was on him. Rudy aimed his gun at the bear, but his firearm misfired, making his best choice of defense his fists, as he did not have any time to get his bear spray from his backpack. As the bear lunged, the only thing Rudy could do was punch the bear in hopes of slowing it down. Unfortunately, it did not, and after the first punch, the grizzly was on top of Rudy. The grizzly left a large scratch down his right chest, bit his arms, legs, and to top it off, gave him as what Rudy describes as the most disgusting French kiss of his life before biting down and tearing off Rudy's lower jaw.
That one chills you to the bone.
Yeah. Luckily, he was not alone. The hunters that were there were able to scare the bear away and call for a life flight. But since then, the bear is deemed to be wounded and still in the area. Rudy, this GoFundMe account out there, it's Rudy Norlander.
We'll link it. We'll link it
Yeah.
if people want to donate.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, you think about
Yeah.
that's like, whoa. So here we are, we're 10 days into, Idaho opens earlier than us.
Yeah.
And Wyoming, they start their rifle seasons. Some of them in September, their backcountry ones. They got, Northwest Wyoming has a higher density of grizzly bears than we do here in Montana. So you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wild, and it's just I don't know. It makes you on edge out there. But like, what are some of the things that you think, like, as a hunter, you can do to like kind of put the odds in your favor of not not running into, like, I don't know. I feel like some of the times, like, we may like leave a little bit early in the afternoon just to, like, so we're not walking through that thick stuff in the dark. You know, in the dark.
Yeah. When Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks put out their closure notice of that trail on Saturday, I should pull it up here. They issued, the bear aware thing, and there's kind of the how to avoid a conflict with a bear is just a general recreationist.
Yeah.
Right. Make a lot of noise. Be in large groups.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what hunters do.
No.
Yeah.
So then they came up. They talked about if you're a hunter. Here it says people who hunt in places or have or may have grizzly bears, which in Montana includes everything west of Billings, should take these special precautions. Carry bear spray and be prepared to use it immediately. Unfortunately, it sounds like that guy had it in his pack. He was counting on a firearm that is a mechanical device. Oh, bear spray is a mechanical device too.
I want to know what gun. I don't want to. I don't want that one.
definitely
What
begs the
do you
question.
carry, Kyler?
I'd carry a Glock 29, 10 millimeter.
Glock 20,
Okay.
10 millimeter.
Yeah, and I just carry bear spray.
Yeah.
Well,
You said you're saying you.
Yeah, I've got bear spray too.
Yeah. You're saying you can't shoot a
no,
pistol these days.
I mean, I can't. I was never good with the handgun, but now because of all this tendon and muscle damage I couldn't hold a hand. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna be even worse with my left hand than my right hand. But anyhow, be prepared to use it immediately. Unfortunately, it sounds like Rudy might have had it, but it was in his pack. Mm-hmm. So hard to use it immediately there. Look for bear sign, like big piles of poop of mountain ash, and be cautious around creeks.
Yeah.
In areas with limited visibility. We violated that rule that afternoon, that evening, Michael.
Well, I mean, like, you got to go, like, we're out there elk hunting. So if we hear an elk bugle, we're going to go. But so, it's just, I guess, keep your head on a swivel. Like, don't be just, like, looking on the ground. I know, like, all the experts say, like, it happens so quick you won't even notice. But, like, I don't know, your odds are in your favor if you got your head on a swivel, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that, like, I don't know if FWP or, like, these game agencies probably won't say is, like, a good tip. But, like, in my mind, it makes sense. It's like, be looking around.
Yeah. Well, then they said, hunt with a group of people. Making localized noise can help alert bears to your presence. It also
tells the elk where you're at. Too.
Yeah. Using a short range weapon like a bow.
Yeah.
That just and gonna cut it.
And a lot of times, the noises we were making may be like a dinner bell to a grizzly bear.
That's their next thing is be aware that elk calls and cover scents can attract bears.
Yeah.
We were doing a lot of elk calling.
Yeah.
Sound, the lost calf. That's in grizzly country. I'm doing the lost calf sound. And we called that one calf in. She just wanted to lick us in the face almost, and she wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, there's nothing seeming more tender to a grizzly bear.
Mighty tasty for the grizzly bear.
I'm like, I don't know if I should keep doing this.
We had that calf come in. She was doing her lost calf thing, and we were right by a creek bottom. It was just like, man.
Yeah. But you go where the elk are. Yeah. So, and then the next one is bring the equipment and the people needed to help field dress the game and remove the meat from the kill site as soon as possible. So it's kind of like how to avoid a conflict, but then once you get an elk, how to not have to fight a bear for your elk. And so do it as fast as possible. There's no way I'm going to gut an elk in grizzly country. It's an extra step you don't need to do. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's just like, let's let all this aroma out there. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't smell any different than a dead elk lying there, but I just am not going to waste the time because I want to get it done as soon as possible. Then it says, if you need to leave a part of the meat in the field for retrieval, which just about always you have to, hang it at least 10 feet off the ground, which is almost difficult, impossible. Yeah. If you've ever, hard. Yeah. I mean, that's the height of a basketball hoop. Yeah. If you've ever tried to lift a 50 to 60 pound hind quarter over a limb up 10 feet, I've tried it. I've never been able to get that 10 feet off the ground. I'll probably get in trouble for that, but I try. I get it as high as I can. And when you do that, make it at least 150 yards from the gut pile or the carcass. So when we're doing the gutless method, the gut pile and the carcass are there. We're hanging an elk. I usually try 200 or 300 yards away. And then this is it says, and feel free to make all the noise you want when you're doing this.
Yeah. Bring the boom box.
White lights are on.
Yeah.
Yep. Hooting and hollering.
Yeah. Upon your return, observe the meat that you've hung with your binoculars from a distance. Make no noise while approaching that meat. If the meat has been disturbed or if a bear is in that area, leave and call FWP, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. Those are pretty good pointers about what to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But with us, especially archery hunters, right? You're way more, one, the grizzly bears are in hyperphagia, they call it this time of year. They're calories, they're moving, eating anything. There are gut piles out there and carcasses out there. You could, if you're walking along and you smell something really rank, don't walk over to say, what's that?
Yeah.
It's probably a carcass or a gut pile that a grizzly is buried. Mm-hmm. And he might just be there thinking you're coming to steal his grocery.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the middle of that. No.
So there's all these things we do as hunters that put us at a higher risk. Mm-hmm. So I guess the point of all this is if you're going to hunt grizzly country, and we do, know these things and have your head on a swivel and don't do what Kyler did. Don't go in there all by yourself. Did you stay overnight in there?
No, I slept in the truck,
Oh, okay. I mean, I know a lot of guys will go in there by themselves. The two encounters I've had with grizzly bears that were within 50 yards were both, I was hunting by myself. I was doing a lot of these things wrong. I was down in a huckleberry patch, and one of them, I'm like, this is stupid. It's September. I'm down in a huckleberry patch all by myself chasing this bugle. Yeah, so.
We were saying yesterday, too, when we were at that site where the most recent one happened, is like, it's really unfortunate and sad, but it also is like, it's pretty cool that these bears are around. Like, it's truly like wild, like a wild place.
Right.
And I'm not trying to paint a grizzly bear as a bad thing, as a bad critter. It's actually pretty amazing that we have them on the landscape, truly wild places, because there was a point where there wasn't very many. So, and like you said, it's some of the best elk hunting, you're going to have to deal with that stuff. So,
And there's a combination of things that are going on. There are more people moving to grizzly country. There are more people touristing in grizzly country. There's so much more activity than was out there 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
You take that and you combine a growing number of bears, you're going to have more of these.
Yeah.
You were asking me out there, you're like, is this common? How many
Yeah.
of these? I said, well, back in the 90s, if you heard of one every 2 or 3 years, it was like, whoa, someone got had a bad encounter with a bear.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's almost like, I wonder how many we're going to have this year.
Yeah, there's
Multiple.
6 so far, if I have my math correct, and it's only the hunting season's been open for 11 days. I mean, I guess in Idaho it starts. You said
August.
yeah.
So it's been open a couple weeks in Idaho.
Yeah.
It's been open a little over a week here in Montana, and we get more people in the woods in October for rifle season
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
than we do in archery season.
Yeah. Is there like any data that's like, if you go in, late November, odds are they're denned up, or is it's
It
different?
increases the likelihood that they're going to be denned up, especially if you get an early winter like we did last year.
Yeah.
A bear is like, well, as long as I'm adding calories, I'll be out here on the landscape.
Mm-hmm.
But as quick as I start losing calories, I'm going to take a nap for about 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm a little more comfortable stomping around on Thanksgiving
Yeah.
than I am on Labor Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I know, here's the other part that always comes up in this discussion is, when are we going to get to hunt them? When are they going to get off the endangered species list? Well, twice the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has delisted the grizzly bears in the greater Yellowstone region. So the federal government is saying there's more than enough of them. We don't have room to put any more of them.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're putting them there, but the landscape, the habitat in the recovery area is full.
It's got a carrying capacity,
Right.
probably.
And every time they delist them, someone goes to a court, finds a sympathetic judge, and finds some reason to get that delisting ruling overturned. So when people get all mad and say the damn feds this and the damn feds that, the feds have twice given the states control, but the courts threw it back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you don't really hear, at least as much about this stuff happening in Alaska and places that bears get shot at when
yeah,
they have hunting seasons
Right.
for them.
yeah,
So.
and in Alaska they also don't have the density of humans out there.
Yeah.
Truth, yeah.
And the guys that are out there are way more disciplined about, being prepared for grizzly bears and avoiding them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dumbfounded that whatever it is, 3 or 4 million tourists go to Yellowstone and behave the way they do,
Oh, man.
Yeah.
and we don't have more problems with tourists getting.
I saw a
Yeah.
video on Instagram just the other day. It's like
Yeah.
40 yards from a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Like, just
What-
phone up, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
No,
Darwin Award
no
right
way,
there.
no way.
So I don't know. It's I'm with you, Michael. It's kind of interesting, and I feel that we can take a lot of pride in the fact that we have made accommodations for a species that requires as large a landscapes as grizzly bears do. That means we've done something in a respect towards grizzly bears. But there is a ton of consequences
Yeah.
of living among grizzly bears. And unfortunately, some people pay a severe consequence. And I wish we could have grizzly bears and have 0 encounters, 0 deaths, 0 injuries. But we're never going to be at that situation. So,
No.
But anyhow,
Yeah. We got 20 minutes. We're
we
here.
got it. Did
Yeah.
we cover it?
I think we hit 20 minutes. If you got anything else you want to talk
Oh,
about, you
wow.
got
No, I just want to talk about those couple grouse I thumped that evening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that was one of the best grouse archery shots I've ever made.
Yeah. It was pretty
man.
right through.
I had a hole like that big, and it's dark. I can hardly see because it's getting, like half hour before shooting length.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for him to walk into this little opening. Thump, boom. Man, I was hooting and jumping up and down, and Michael's giving me high fives. I mean,
It's always fun watching
Oh, yeah.
somebody whack
Oh,
a
yeah.
grouse with a bow. It's so fun. And you just know, like, a lot of times you may, like, I'll be filming and, like, it's really hard to film, like, through the limbs and stuff, but you can just hear it. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, he got
Boom,
that one. Yeah.
And then you hear the flutter.
Yeah. Those are some good grouse. We
We
had
ate
a
'em.
nice grouse dinner one night.
And leftovers.
Yeah.
We
and some
had
leftovers.
so many of them. We had leftovers.
Yeah.
So.
But
Anyhow,
yeah.
for
Well,
having
the
us.
season's just underway. You're heading out to Utah
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Or the next day.
Yeah, we're gonna try and do Fresh Tracks Weekly every 2 weeks.
From the field, even.
Yeah, from the
sometimes.
field.
All right.
It's not going to be probably as in depth as the off season, but we're going to do our best to get them to you guys because it seems like everybody likes them, and it's a good way to keep people informed about public land issues, whatever, and what we're doing here in the office and out in the field. So, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.